I am Alec.
No, you're not. Why does everyone feel the fucking need? I am Alec.
Right. So,
Is Rob coming on, or just waiting for him?
well, he just turned on the live stream, so maybe it's just some technical difficulties. Maybe.
Yeah, he's at his mum's house.
Ah, right. Okay.
Yeah, he's probably explaining the film to his mum.
This is called a transvestite.
This is called a piece of shit.
Oh,
No,
that was very transphobic.
No longer, it's not a PC term anymore, Alec. This film would be very controversial if it was released these days.
Well, wasn't it because of this film that it's more? Actually, it's less controversial these days. No, because of this film.
I don't know.
I don't think we're the best people to ask that.
Camilla was just making a good point that, like, obviously the terms that are used these days are different, but this was made at the time. So for the time, it was quite ahead of it. It was quite ahead of its time.
Yes.
But
Yes.
anyway, yeah, I don't think anyone's crapping at it because of that.
No.
Yeah, obviously, if it was remade, it would be different.
Please don't remake it.
Give him time, Disney owns it.
Please.
Yeah, there's no way you'll get it so good twice.
I was gonna say that since I'm still not well, I was gonna say what some of my bits, what I thought, and then I was gonna go off because I don't think I can actually last the whole call. Sorry.
We don't blame you, don't worry.
Don't worry, man.
Yeah. All right, Dan. Introduction.
Yeah, quick, Dan. Slap.
Fuck. No.
Your second film this year to feature the phrase "Great Scott."
God, I can tell you loved it.
The lights have gone out.
Is it because the scores were a disaster area?
Yeah. I saw Alex scores and I was like, okay, maybe someone else is gonna. No. It didn't really go anywhere. This is a bit of a weird one because I knew about this film for like 8 years and whatever. I never really watched it, and then because I listened to a lot of Meatloaf and he did one of the songs, so I was like, oh,
yeah,
where's that song come from? And then I found the soundtrack and I listened to the soundtrack and I'm like, I really like this soundtrack. And then I finally watched the film. So I knew all the songs before watching the film, which is really bizarre. So I knew the words. But yeah, I thought to myself, I picked this film because it's something. It's quite, I don't know, it's watching it again the second time because I only watched it once before. I can see why you'd dislike it because it gets to the point where it's kind of it starts off all right and then slowly it just kind of just goes on a little bit. I don't know. I still really liked it, but I still felt I enjoyed it. But yeah, like near the end, it's just like a bit sludgy. But that's me. Like when I was talking to Rob and he said that he was just looking forward to it ending. I was like, I can understand that. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Yeah, that's pretty much it, really.
It's a shame John didn't come back because I imagine he'd have been on your side with this one.
He probably would have been because he likes trashy, cheap throwaways musicals.
The only thing I agree with you on
not that.
Speaking of
is
sludgy,
is the music and intern like production in general. I thought production side of it was pretty good. Music was all on point. I forgot her name who plays the girlfriend,
Sue
but
Surrender.
yeah, her singing throughout is really good. She didn't. I think this was her first musical. I
This certainly
don't.
was, yeah. She
Okay.
hasn't done anything since.
She's sung in other stuff. I just don't remember what she has sung in. It's on Wikipedia somewhere. But whether it's notable or not. But anyway, for me, or for both of us, like you said, it started out all right. I was just like, oh, okay, this is because I saw the blurb at first, like, this is not going to be my type of film, is it? Then it started, I was like, okay, this might be okay. And then from when Tim Curry came in, and then shortly after, it just went, and the story got worse and worse and a mess and a mess. And I was like, this could have. The thing is, I kept reminding myself at the end of the day, this film isn't trying to take itself seriously. It is making fun of itself. And right at the beginning, I was kind of appreciating that. I was just like, oh, cool, cool. But then it didn't help that that was going on at the same time. It was just all a mess. Pat, you just logged onto Xbox. Anyway,
How'd you know?
What a mess.
I'm on Xbox.
Oh,
Yeah, you'll
Shit.
see that I'm playing Valhalla.
So strong.
Anyway, oh man,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, sorry. Let me continue. But yeah. So the whole kind of thing with the mess and everything, and I didn't realize it was Meatloaf at first either. And so I was like, wait a minute, is that guy? I was like, oh, that's him younger. I've only seen him older.
Don't love meat.
But and I didn't realize Time Warp came from this. It was like, I've heard this so many times. It's on Strictly, it's on this, it's on that. She's much more aware of things than me. But I was like, that makes sense. But yeah, yeah. But I think it's one of those things personally, it wasn't for me. For me, I also, unless anyone knows this, I wonder what Ed thought of this before he died. The black and white film Ed, that was amazing.
Oh,
The-
Edward.
Oh, right. Oh, who got Ed Sheeran? Ed. We're talking
Sorry.
about.
His last
Yeah.
name. His last name?
Edward, yeah, that would have been quite interesting to see his point.
Edward. Sorry, that's it. Yeah. So Edward, because he died, found out in like 3 years after this film came out,
Oh.
and this was this type of thing, like type of film. They're just better produced. So
As a musical as well.
yeah, so I wonder what he thought of this when he saw this, because it's not often stuff like this. I guess I don't know if it became popular at the time or popular after the time. I'll probably have to watch the call or ask you guys. But would you say?
I was going to say, I think it was a stage show before, and then they made it into a film. And I don't know whether the film made it more popular.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah,
Because it's a big stage show.
It's kind of warming my heart thinking like Edward watched that, and then the bit with like the antimatter lasers, he's just sitting there going, "Oh my god, this looks amazing," and you're like, "Oh, bless you."
yeah. 'Cause I could imagine him loving that, literally. And yeah, it came out while he was still alive. But yeah, I forgot it was a stage show. Halfway through, I did realize that. I was like, oh wait, this was a stage show. And obviously they lean more into that right at the end. But it has its place. It's just not for me. I think my favorite scenes are the time warp scene, which is probably a favorite for many people. I thought that was just the right amount of wacky and out there and what the crowd up. Um, and also scene where the guy's telling the girlfriend that I love you, I want to marry you. It was just the right amount of taking the piss out of his own self, but also musically good. And I thought I thought that scene was really good. Or that whole kind of how that played out. Yeah. Uh, that's my thoughts on it.
Okay.
I'd probably say the time walk was my least favourite scene, you know.
Really?
Yeah.
What? You got to jump to the left.
Because I was just watching it like, man, I don't remember the time walk being this long. And it just kept going.
You know why? Because they did an edit. Because if you listen to the soundtrack, there's an 80s version of it where they made it a bit more like, you know, that horrible disco. Oh,
Yeah.
but yeah, it is a long fucking song. But it's probably one of my favorite songs. It's just, yeah.
I'd say the little intro into it would be my favorite thing, because that's when like Riff Raff's actor is fucking at his worst. He's doing this he's doing like a bit of this for us and it's starting to build a little bit.
Yeah,
And then
it's
he just goes straight into I remember doing the time walk. It's like, what is happening?
He's the bloke who wrote it.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Riff Raff.
Yeah. Oh, what's the bloke's name?
It's Riff Raff.
Richard
He's
O'Brien.
Oh.
Oh, that's who it was.
Yeah, he's the Crystal Maze man.
Yeah.
Damn
He
you,
wrote-
Richard O'Brien.
I thought you were being bitchy then.
No, I was.
How
I
was
was saying-
that?
Oh man.
Yeah.
The fucking time warp.
Let's do the time.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a bit of it's a weird case, because I think usually when there's a film that's like really well thought of, you can usually sort of look at it and go, oh, okay, that's what people are getting from it. But with this, I was like, I'm not sure.
Like Tim Curry's like really like for his first film, like this was a real standout performance in that. So I'm like, I get like the Tim Curry like thing, but like the rest is the rest looks quite cheap and shit.
Well, I would say Tim Curry is definitely like the main person, and he was definitely enjoying himself the most out of all the cast members. Even when he looks to camera, you can just say, "Fucking loving this shit. This is so out there. I love it." Like, could you just tell that he's just enjoying this movie? But this movie is a bit weird, right? just
a bit weird.
Yeah, just a little bit, right? I mean,
You have reached 5% on my weirdometer.
I mean, like, it stands out because it has standed the test of time, even though people didn't initially like it when it first came out. But there was always like a thing about it, because I always heard about this film, and I've always wondered, where is the horror element in this film? And like, I was like, why is it called a horror show? Why was it like that? And I was thinking, there was like only one thing that was like considered horror to me, and that was like when there was the dinner scene, and like it was with Eddie, and like how to explain it? It's like, yeah, you know, he's the guy who's gonna get eaten. You could say he really was meatloaf.
Thank you.
Okay.
I saw it coming as it came, and I was like, "Yep, you gotta just."
Okay, but in all seriousness, it's like, I want to say that this movie is. Oh, I want to say this movie is timeless, but and it is to certain audiences. But like, I can't really force myself to. If I had to rewatch this movie compared to The Greatest Showman, I'll probably watch The Greatest Showman first.
Oh, no.
Yes, 100%.
Oh
Fuck
no.
you. Fuck you,
Hot
Pat.
take.
And I'd watch Greatest Showman again before watching this.
Ooh!
Fuck
Oh
you.
man.
Sack
At
you.
least this film wasn't evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you
you
guys
say
say
that.
it's timeless. It fucking felt timeless while I was watching it.
But not evil.
I will take ponderous before.
I'll take the evil comment.
You say that.
I at least had enjoyment from watching The Greatest Showman. This one I was.
Misplaced enjoyment.
Oh my god.
I'll be honest. We got about
Well,
we got
we
about 50
found out
minutes in.
that Pat hates good music. That's
I
like
mean,
the time warp.
the problem with this was I disliked it so much that I started losing interest midway through,
Oh,
and because it felt like it was dragging, 50 minutes felt like 5 hours.
fucking hell. It's not that bad.
I agree with Pat, honestly.
Oh,
I mean, that's the weird thing about it, though, because like there's so much like weird stuff going on, but at the same time, it's like, oh, this is going on.
It almost felt like someone had an idea, but decided not to write it on paper, and we're like, we'll just throw bits together and see how it comes.
Yeah.
than it was in the second half. for sure.
The music was fine. Don't get me wrong. Like, that's why production didn't get a 1; it got a 2. I think.
Oh, it wasn't that bad though.
But it was. It's just. I don't think I have words for it.
Wow.
Like someone
I'd probably say that this for me was the worst film that we've had in Film Club since Antichrist.
Really?
Wait, what?
This is
I don't
Dan's
know-
Antichrist.
I don't know.
Tokyo,
if
and
that's
Tokyo
worse.
Ghoul Police.
Wait, Tokyo Goblin? What the fuck?
Well,
That film exists.
Tokyo Ghoul Police was bad, but it was intentionally that way.
Yeah.
Feel insulted.
True, but it wasn't like. Oh, I don't know.
I think you can
I-
throw that at this though.
Yeah,
I'm
but is it
personally
really that?
insulted.
But this,
Oh, that's
this
how
had
I
good-
do-
I mean,
Well,
like this and Antichrist are comparable because they're sort of highly in their sort of niche. Like there's people that really enjoy both, but I think they're both pieces of shit.
Yeah, but I think the difference between this and Antichrist, oh no, sorry, and Tokyo Ghoul Police versus this is that the songwriting was quite good. It was well constructed, and the costumes were, and the choreography was eons better than anything Ghoul Police.
Oh well, yeah.
Yeah.
But the
goes
songs in
without saying.
Tokyo Gore Police were terrible.
Yeah, no songs at all.
But in saying
that,
In saying that, in Tokyo Ghoul Police, I didn't have the almost feeling that Boris Johnson was turning up in the film.
yeah, but that guy's being solid. He's like 10 times more attractive than Boris Johnson was.
I'll let you think that then.
Honestly, every time we do one of these where someone goes, "This was worse than
So-and-so.
Tokyo Gore Police," and I'm like, no, I don't think it is.
Yeah. The only one that can come close to that is Bella versus Python. No,
And I don't even think that did it. But yeah, I do think it is kind of meant to be. I think Rocky Horror is supposed to be like kind of. That's why this is why I gave Purpose a 10 for it, because I was like, I think because I kept going like, oh, is the singing meant to be shit? And I'm like, yes, the singing is meant to be shit. And it's like, is the acting meant to be bad? And I'm like, yeah, that was kind of there too. And it's like, is this story supposed to make sense? And I'm like, not really.
Not really.
No,
Like,
I guess
I
not.
think it's doing everything it's setting out to do. Like every bad note, the really badly animated like antimatter lasers. Like
Well,
the costumes are fucking ridiculous.
well, admittedly, the costumes and most of the production were like half-heartedly put together, anyways. Because from what I read from it, is like all those like set design pieces were stolen from other movies.
They trumped it.
I was like,
Yeah.
wait, what? I kept reading, right? And it was like, oh yeah, they stole bits from War of the World, sorry, and like Flash Gordon, and like
World of the
from
War.
like the day that the Earth stood still, and like they stole all the costume pieces from there. And I was like, oh, no wonder it looks so tacky.
Yeah, for 20-year-old movies, it would make sense that way, wouldn't it?
Tacky's definitely the word.
Yeah, I think, but
Yeah.
to be fair, it was what year did it come out in this?
74, 75?
It's still it is dated by today's standards as well. So if it's using props and costumes from movies 20 years before, yeah, it's going to look a bit of a hodgepodge.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of, hi Frank,
Yeah.
you little hodgepodge.
Right.
Yeah, if it like there were, and maybe I don't know if it was just me, but I didn't realize that transsexual in the film was a planet.
Yes, only
Yeah.
until you get
You wouldn't know that in real life.
I was like, wait, it was a planet. That Camilla was so kind of like, what? Wait, what did he say he was from? He didn't say he was sexual. Yes, he did. He said it repeatedly the first time singing. I just thought it was a different way of saying he was one, while also saying
Fuck.
technically a cross-dresser. So I was very confused. But it also still didn't have any significance throughout the whole film. It was just like, I just wish it was written better. Because at least if it was written better, I think I could have had a better time. And I think it was just too much of a fever dream for too long of a time. Because it's nice, like, and this is why at first I kind of like the time warp. Because it's nice when you have something structured, but you go in this random tangent, but then you come back to the structure, you come back home to what's happening. And it's like having you escape to have this crazy thing and then come back. And that can be fun. But it didn't come back to nothing. It just got one.
Yeah,
It
it
just
got more insane and more insane.
See, you're saying insane. I don't know. I was struggling to think of any like payoffs or anything that happened, like necessarily. Like it's kind of a little bit like what Pat said. Like it just kind of, I don't know. Like the story is Frankenfurter made a Frankenstein's monster
Yeah.
that he could fuck, and then I don't know. That's just kind of where like that's it. And then like this really conservative couple discover fucking, and like that's the story.
Well,
It's
yeah,
like
that's the thing. Yeah, you're right. It's insane might be the wrong word to describe it, because kind of like the story kind of lends itself to like the Frankenstein thing and Adam's family idea of this weird group of people living in this house, and then he builds his perfect man, and then after that happens, the story doesn't go anywhere. It just sort of like just random stuff after that. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
There's
like,
no motive or reason or rhyme, or there's nothing of much note that happens that makes logical sense. Because if like the end of the film was the perfect man was revealed, it would probably be more of a through line. Do you know?
I think that's the thing, though, isn't it? Because it's exactly the same thing as The Greatest Showman, in that if you're not if you're not sitting there like, oh man, I love this music, then there's not really much
Yeah.
else to latch onto. Like, it's,
The songs hold it together, if that.
The first time I watched it for this, I was kind of like, what did actually like happen? And I kind of looked back and was like, I think like Tim Curry being a transvestite is like the main thing that was carrying this, like just in terms of punchline, just in terms of like, this is going to be too radical for people. But it's like, I don't know. If you're not really thinking about that, it's kind of like, what does this have? Like, what's actually happening? And it's just like, not a lot. It's Tim Curry wearing lingerie. And you're like, oh, okay.
to the point that they reveal it twice.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm gonna go now.
Yep.
See you later, dude.
All right,
Bye.
take care.
Bye.
Later.
Manuel.
Bye.
Hope
Yeah.
you feel better, man.
Get well soon.
Congratulations with your new job as well.
Yeah, congrats.
Oh, nice one, man.
Congratulations with your new illness.
Yeah.
I would say like the main point of just like watching the movie is like everyone is just scantily clad and in lingerie, not just like Tim Curry, but everyone. So just like I guess that's like a thing you could watch if you're like enjoy that stuff. But it's like it didn't, yeah, as you guys said, it didn't really go anywhere from that point because like it was Tim Curry in lingerie and them the main guy and girl were in the undergarments. Then you had Rocky come out in like his Flash Gordon golden speedo, and afterwards, but then afterwards, it kept going. They tried to like up it every time, but it didn't. It got to the point where it got to stupidness because like everyone's in statues, everyone's in lingerie. Then even the old dude in the wheelchair is wearing fucking high heels and like stockings. I was like, at that point, I was trying to give it like a chance, right? But I was like, when it hit that point, I was like, I kind of gave up. I just like went,
Yeah.
sure,
That was the big climax thing where you're going like, you presumably if you're someone in 1975 and you watch this and you go, oh my god, that guy's not a lady, and it's just like two of those guys dancing around aren't ladies either. It's just like I don't know, man. Some guys doing a drag show. I'm clearly too millennial for this.
And that's the thing, because it's like, I don't know, because when it starts and like you have that kind of like wedding scene, I was just kind of sat there like, I cannot wait for this to be over. This is I'm really not liking this. And then they do that like car journey that looks like something from like the Munsters or something like that. And I was kind of going, no, you know what? Maybe there is something to this. I quite like how this feels. And then it just, I don't know. I feel like you get like the slightest bit of tension from that little bit. And then Tim Curry pops out of a cake, and then it's like, oh, it's all, it's just this.
Also, that driving sequence reminded me of Blowout because Brad drives the fake car like John Travolta drives the fake car. He goes,
yeah, he just like.
And I was like, you do not drive a car like this. You don't do this to make.
Road is.
True.
I mean, do you not remember the Connery Bonds at how they drove the cars in that?
Yes, those are not masterpieces of cinema either. We have to do this as much as possible to make the wheels turn. Just like no, that's not.
But that's a good point of what Bob was saying. I thought it has glimmers of like really good moments, and that I don't know if you noticed, but you could see like Tim Curry out of makeup in the beginning with what's his face as well in the crowd of the wedding, and I was hoping to see more bits like that, just more foreshadowing and going back to where it all began, but it didn't really do any of that, which is a shame.
Well, that's the thing. I was expecting that because I think that the last time I saw this must have been at least like 15 years ago, if not longer. And I was kind of watching it like, oh, so there's Tim Curry without makeup. So maybe like him in the makeup is like a midpoint twist or something like that. and then it just happens. and it's like, oh, like it's just like, what else is carrying this now?
Yeah. Well, in just like I don't know. I think when I first saw it, I saw it because of Glee, because Glee did like a
Glee.
Yeah, I used to watch Glee.
You live and learn.
Yeah. Well, because they did a special episode on Rocky Horror, and I was like, "What the fuck is anyone doing? What is this?" And my mum was like, "Oh, we got to show you Rocky Horror," and I like watched it, and I think I remembered it being a lot better than it was. So when it was on this time, I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna try and break down this plot like objectively." And then I don't know, it just devolved, and then like Dr. Scott came, like just fucking showed up for no reason, even though he clearly wasn't expecting Brad and Janet, even though they were going to see him, and then he just rocks up into this old mansion, lets himself in because the guy that Frankenfurter just fucking killed for no reason happened to be his nephew, and he left a note written in blood or something, going like, "These guys are gonna kill me. I have no way of knowing that, but yeah, this is bad." And yeah, I'm just like, damn, like this is awful. And then it just culminated with Rocky being immune to antimatter lasers, but then dying because of a fall from a like moderate height into a swimming pool. And it was like, where do you begin? And then I was like, and the payoff is, and it's like the payoff isn't like a lot actually, and. Yeah, I'd to ask because Eb's like a really big fan of this. I was going like, "What are you getting out of this?" And it was like, oh, it was like kind of the first time you kind of had like sexuality, like as big as it was, sort of in like a mainstream film and that, and to have the characters kind of go from being like a very Christian kind of celibate, like monogamous kind of thing, and then discover fucking, and then fucking gets taken away, and they're like, oh, like that, like that being kind of like the thing. So that was the bit I resonated with a little bit. I was just like, oh, okay, no, I kind of get where we're going. I kind of get what we're doing with this. But like, yeah, the stuff like Frankenfurter singing a song about don't dream it, be it. And I'm guessing that's just kind of a meta text thing where he's like, I'm a transsexual and I don't pretend to be what I don't like fantasize about being this. I am it.
Yeah,
and like I can see that really hitting people who were like closeted in 1975. But just in terms of like in universe story, I was like, but this is commonplace where you're from, so it's not really like that big a deal for you to say that, I guess. And I was like, everyone's really accepting that you just grew your own fuck toy. Like, I don't. But then he's also like, I don't know, like it's all sexual freedom and stuff, but he also gets jealous. And he's like, "Wait, that's my fuck toy. Get off." It's like, okay. And then he gets punished for it as well. And I'm like, I don't know what you're saying. I don't know what you're telling me. Like, yeah, I found it all very plodding and confused, I guess.
Which is the point of the story if you're trying to like put yourself into the shoes, or as John says, the pants of the character. And like you're trying to go, oh yeah, if I was someone who's trying to be more openly sexual, I would try to be like this, but I'll still be confused about what it is and what it was. Because this film is, yeah, it's supposed to be super glam rock is the name of the term, I think was what it's called.
Okay.
And
glam rock is opposed to the drum.
Yeah, and it's like, I feel like at that time it was like shock and awe and like, oh right, yeah, he's like really out there. But like nowadays, maybe it's because it's like relevant to like the LGBTQ community, right? And it's like, all right, because they could use this like as a reference point to people say, yeah, it was kind of accepted in this place. Why don't we accept it other places as well? But it's like, I don't know. It feels, what's the word? It feels, maybe it's because I'm just me and I'm just watching it and go, this feels awkward to watch. I feel uncomfortable watching it because I don't really feel like I get it, if you know what I mean. Like even like the beginning scene with the lips and like those are female lips, but the voice was coming out of it was kind of male, right? Am I misremembering that? Because that's the way I looked at it. It's like those are clearly a girl's lips, but the voice of it is kind of masculine. I don't know.
I think it's kind of ambiguous.
Yeah, it's meant to be an androgynous character.
It's Magenta's mouth though.
Talking about that Magenta character, right? When they first walk into like the house, right, and they're in that foyer, right? Did you notice her on the banister? I continually like go. I was trying to record the bit where Riff Raff like just fucking loses it, and like I kept forgetting she was there, and I kept going, "Oh my god!" And it was like the 6th time I watched it, I still just missed that she's there. Yeah, I thought it was like a very like red plant, and then after she moved, I went, huh? "What the fuck happened there? Why how long have she was there through like the first shot to the shot where she got revealed?" I was like, man, that's weird and awkward, but like, yeah, I guess that's some dedication just to just hang there on the banister like that, I guess. But like, I don't know, it's not a film that was for me, but I can tell it's for there is a niche audience for this film, and that's why it's got such a cult following now. That there's actually, from what I remember, conventions every year in like Arizona called like the Rocky Horror Convention every year, and I was like, okay, you enjoy yourselves, and you do you. I wouldn't do it myself, but like, sure, just go for it, right?
Yeah. It's become like such a cult thing. Like you kind of, I think it's one of those things that like you are sort of aware of, even if you've never seen it. Like everyone knows that that's a Tim Curry. That's a classic Tim Curry role in that.
I think what doesn't help is it's been a stage show for so long that it's just kind of ingrained, like the Les Miserables.
So what do you get out of it, Humphrey?
No, I really like the music. Like the music's really well made. I don't know. It's one of them weird things where, as I said, I listened to the soundtrack before watching it, so there was bits of it where I was like, "Oh, this," you know, like the scene where you keep saying her name. Oh, is it
Magenta or Janet?
No,
Janet.
Janet's name. You know when he chases up the staircase. That's in the soundtrack I listened to. That's not actually on it. And also when Rocky starts singing, which is really jarring as well. I found his voice was a bit like
Adrian.
He's a bit like that right. But yeah, I really like the songs. I literally I'll sit there and sing along to it. I did pretty much most of the film.
Have you watched the stage show? I guess it's a question.
I have never seen the stage show because it never was really a thing like in my life where it was like, because I don't really watch many stage shows. Like I can probably tell you I've seen, like, I say a handful. I've probably only seen one proper one. That was what's it called? When we went with Ben. Oh, what's it called?
Book of Mormon.
Yeah, that's like the only real big West End kind of one I've seen from my memory.
It's a good choice. It's really funny. So yeah, good choice.
But Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just music, really. The story doesn't really. Yeah, I can understand the story does make sense, but I think it was supposed to be just like a homage to that them classical horror films. Like when you see Magenta at the end, and she's got the Frankenstein monster's wife's hair. I just think that's really cool.
That was like the Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there's lots. I can see why they said like why it's titled Rocky Horror Picture Show, because it's got a lot of them kind of classic things like the big like castle, like Frankenstein or Dracula's castle, and there's like loads of like horror imagery, like skeletons in a grandfather clock. Yeah. But what always got me when I watched the original, I was like, wait a minute, that's Christopher Biggins.
What?
He's one of the dancers at the start of the time warp.
Oh, really?
Biggins?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's at the side, and he looks exactly the same. He's got makeup on and glasses, but he don't really dance. Well, he ain't a dancer, but he's like he's just doing this kind of
I thought he meant he was the criminologist, and I was like, no, that's not Christopher Biggins.
No,
That's a fucking Bond villain.
I thought that was a really cool thing that they did, and then it just kind of, it become a bit ridiculous in the end when he's got like the flip. He's got this chart, and he's like, you jump to the left. Like what? If you watched it fresh, you're like, okay, this is quite a cool kind of format. He's talking about what's happening and like how crazy this thing's going to be, and then he just kind of plays along with the thing, and it subverts it so well.
Yeah, because like when I first watched it and he was doing the exposition about what the story was, like when them driving, it's like, yes, and he was and then Brad was going to complain about him bursting a tire and how he should have fixed his spare tire. Then it happened. It's like, damn it, I should have fixed that spare tire. Damn it. And I was like, why? I don't understand what the point of your character is. He's so like, because like first he seemed like it was just like the story narrator, but the more the story went on, the more like I like to say camp he seemed, because he just seemed a bit camp. I don't know what the other right.
The whole
I don't know
film
what
was
the
a
word
bit
is.
camp.
Yeah,
Camp is-
Oh, yeah, okay.
Camp is definitely the word. But like that's just kind of like a funny joke where you have a narrator set something up and then you have a character like say it word for word. Like
Yeah, but
it's like Kegosaurus. It's like- it's weird for him to be calling me at this time of day, and he's like, "Hi, Kegosaurus. I know it's weird for me to call this time of day." It's the classic comedy. But because I was when I was talking to Em about it yesterday, I was talking about the acting, and she was like, "But it's kind of meant to be. It's meant to be kind of a bit shit." And then I was like, I was talking about Garth Marenghi, and I was like, "Oh yeah," because then she's like, "Right, would you call that shit? Like badly acted?" And I'm like, "Well, no, because that's actually really difficult. Like you're trying to act like you're a bad actor."
To be fair, I think Tim Curry's performance is pretty excellent though. I think that's the one thing that holds it all together. Just because he's so outlandish.
That's what throws it off, because he's actually doing like a really good job.
Yeah.
So everyone else looks a bit different.
So that's the trouble. The rest of the bit, they're not really proven actors, but he is, and you can see straight out the gate he's a superb character performer.
Sorry.
I was going to say, because only Tim Curry can be the bad guy, and then you feel sympathy for him in the end, even though he's been despicable the whole fucking film. Like, you think he kills a man just because he got released from a freezer, and he was a failed experiment. He fucking kills him cold blood, walks out, no fucking problem. He fucking does all that other shit with Brad and Janet, and then at the end of it, you're like, fuck, they killed him. You feel fucking sympathy, like when he's crying at the end. I'm like, fuck. But yeah, he's why I actually give the acting such a high score, because I think about, I don't know, would I give it an 8? I think 6 points of that are just him.
Yeah, same for me, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because he's just so good.
Yeah,
Back in a minute.
everyone loves Curry.
Is this the first Tim Curry film we've done?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, who said that?
What a fucking film!
To be fair, it is probably like,
Leave it.
well, when I think of Tim Curry, I think of this. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
that's
quite
the
awesome.
first one comes to mind.
Probably go better.
Other than it,
Mm.
which is probably one of the other.
it's a weird one, though, isn't it? Because
That kind of is a design of the creature more than him, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like he's hidden behind the makeup.
He still acts it pretty well.
Yeah.
Like he's fucking scary in that film.
Sorry, can confirm this is the first Tim Curry film we've done.
Excellent.
the best Tim Curry film we've done.
First.
Only.
The best one, probably the
So best by default, yeah.
Muppet Treasure Island.
By default.
Oh, that's a good choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
What is going on with your screen?
Rob or
Rob.
Frank? Rob.
In what sense?
Did you say Rob or Frank? There seems to be like lightning.
Oh, that's the TV.
What's playing?
Oh, it is.
The Force Awakens.
Oh,
Okay.
I've been an awakening. I've floated.
I thought he's taking this lightning strike really well. He's just sitting there.
I don't think Frank's too fussed about lightning, to be fair.
Sorry.
So good thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say the only real bit of this that kind of doesn't sit well with me is the bit when they go to their bedrooms.
Oh, that's actually kind of my favourite scene. I think that's really
What?
funny.
It was so cleverly done, to be honest.
It is
Yeah.
cleverly done, but it doesn't really sit well with me.
I
I'm like,
think
Yeah.
I think it's just one of those things where like, it's something he doesn't necessarily like for like as outlandish as he is to them. Like he just kind of suggests sex, and they both start going like, no, I couldn't possibly. And then like I don't know, it doesn't take like a lot of convincing, and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, all right, no, that's fine. So it's like there's an element of they do kind of want to. They don't need to be like convinced that much. Like even Brad, but like I love that it's the same. It's the same dialogue both times, like exactly the same. And it's like this is quite a funny joke actually, and it's like yeah, I can see why it's uncomfortable, but I think that is kind of playing into this whole thing of like if you are overly conservative and you'd like deny your kind of libido, like yeah, that's not necessarily
the bit
healthy.
the bit that gets me is the bit when Janet sees him on the camera and he's smoking a cigarette and she's like, "Oh, Brad, how can you do this?" And I'm like, "Oh, you just did it yourself.
Yeah.
How the fucking you
Damn
just
it, Janet.
I'm a Janet.
oh, that
That's so funny. Just like coming out of it, just going like, I did horrible, depraved things. I cheated on my fiance. And then you just see, you see him do the exact same thing, and you're like, you bastard!
why did you do that to me? And then she does it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
It did have very silly moments, but one of my favorite silly moments is when they all kind of like react to each other in such a hammy way. It's like Janet, Frank, and everyone keeps panning to the left to right.
Why do you keep saying Frank?
It's in the video.
Yeah, I am. But you know what I mean. That scene was just so stupid. I just loved it.
We need to do like a series now, just like photoshopping Frank into different films.
Yeah.
So
You're right, Simon. You're having a flashback.
no, I'm just like, I'm trying to think about this
Okay.
movie and like how to explain this movie. If I had to explain this movie to like, I don't know, just to anyone, like I don't know how I would go about explaining the movie. It's like I get that all the things have happened because I've watched this film, but if I try to explain, yeah, there's this alien transvestite trying to make grow a sex toy to have sex with the sex toy, but the sex toy is like Frankenstein's monster. That's it's just saying that sentence out loud. You're like,
So it's basically a sentient sex toy.
yeah, but that's not the main character of this movie. The main character of the movies are this conservative couple that are planning to go get married. That just happen to come to this guy's house, which is actually a spaceship.
Yeah. But their point of view of it all, I suppose. That's how you say.
Yeah, but like, I just try to think, how could you really explain that film? Because like, this film is so confusing.
No,
It's
you missed
it's-
the main
it's-
point that they sing as well.
It's both overly simple, but also like
Out loud.
weirdly complex.
it's just like, admittedly, once I first watched the film the first time, right, I had to go to the wiki and go, did I miss something? I feel like I'm missing something. I had to go and check the story back on the wiki, and it's like, there's transvestite called Frankenfurter who makes a sex. No. I got the story right the first time. It's just like, the story is so simple, yet so overly complicated. And it's like, no. So Riff Raff was like his like henchman, but then afterwards he actually like made a coup against him and became their commander, and they flew back to transsexual Transylvania. And it's just like, okay. It's like, okay, so there's like a whole planet of these.
See, I think there's actually like a little bit of hidden dimension in Riff Raff, because like when they ask if Frankenfurter's married or something, and it's just like, no, I don't expect he'll take a partner anytime soon. But then like he like fucks with Rocky for like no reason. He just starts like trying to agitate him and stuff. And then like later it's like he kills Frankenfurter, and Magenta's like, I thought he really liked you, and he's just like, he didn't like me. Because
Well,
I think there's like a little, well, there's not a lot, but like I think there's like a deceptive amount of like reasoning behind Riff Raff.
well, I mean, he's supposed to be the Igor character, right? Of like from Frankenstein, and it's just like, but it's so weird how much of like he does do one particular comedic scene that I've always loved when people do it in comedy, is where he's like pouring champagne into a glass. But then afterwards he just straight up drinks from the bottle. I've always liked that joke. I've always found that particular like punchline to be funny. Just like,
No.
then he throws away the bottle, and there's like, yeah, that's so bougie, and so there's something about it. It's so comical about it. I don't know why. It just suits the sort of feeling behind it.
But I think it all comes out if he fancies Frankenfurter and like he acts out, and I think that's like the motivation for him,
Okay, that actually could make sense as well. Yeah.
because that's why he targets Rocky. That's why. I think that's why he does everything. Why he does. Sorry, Ham.
I was going to say that with the champagne, it's actually he pours the champagne for Frankenfurter, and then he swigs the bottle, then throws it away. Because you see him give him the glass, he takes the glass
Yeah.
and he literally gets a little bit, and then fucking throws it. He just sips it and just goes. But,
Bougie as, bougie as hell, right?
Yeah.
And because what was the name of his sister? Because there's
Magenta.
okay, so Magenta was his sister. So what's the name of the Magnolia, right?
No, Colombia.
Colombia.
Colombia?
Magneto.
Where did you get
Magneto?
Magnolia from?
I must have misread the naming sense then. Shit. But in any case, this was on Disney. This. You guys all watched it on Disney Plus, right? Or Disney, right?
Yeah, it's a Disney movie. Yeah.
All right, but
Oh.
it's. I just found it really weird, just because I just realized it was a Disney movie or Disney movie, and like you saw that it was Colombia who had like the Mickey Mouse ears watching Janet. I was like, I saw that scene. I thought, yes, the mouse is always watching us. Always. I was like, yeah, that's just how it feels with being a Disney movie. I don't know why they had it like that. It's just so weird. And I feel like I've talked for about a good 5 minutes. So, like, anyone else?
What was your favorite scene, Pat?
Kidding,
End
right?
credits.
I didn't watch the end credits. As soon as the ending came up, I was like, X.
Dude, I thought you was about to say, I didn't watch it.
I'm gonna come clean. I just didn't watch it.
I assumed it
I
wasn't
wish I
for me,
didn't.
and that was enough.
I didn't enjoy anything.
It's
It's the biggest pile of shit I've ever experienced.
I don't know
think
what bit
about
I
you,
disliked the
isn't it?
most. Like there was the first major scene where oh fuck, I can't remember the character's name now. The
Frankenfurter?
the head tranny. What's his name?
Tranny!
Can't say tranny
Frankenfurter.
anymore.
Who is it that played the character? Was that Tim Curry?
Tim Curry,
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the scene that introduced Tim Curry's character into it, I fucking hated that.
it's one of the best bits.
That was
Dude.
that scene felt like it went on for days.
You never judge.
So yeah, that's probably the scene that I disliked the most.
What about when Boris appears?
I was
Probably my least
confused.
favourite,
I was very confused. I was like, this is Boris as Mr. Olympia.
Oh,
The thing I didn't get about that is like they give life to him, and then within 2 seconds he's singing about how shit his life is.
Yeah.
It's like I could have done with some build up.
Yeah, there was.
When he's talking to the people and he's like, oh, shit. It's like, what? Ah,
Like, literally, he's born, and then he's like, "Oh, what an awful life! I can't tell you how awful it is." And it's like, you've only just got it.
but Rob, think about it. He's sharing. He's got half his brain from
Eddie.
so he might have residual thoughts. Because remember, if he's had a shit life and then they basically killed him to make him a fucking sex slave, wouldn't you be a bit fucked?
Do you know what, Simon? There's your horror. That's
true. That's true.
That's a
Imagine-
really
Imagine
horrible
gaining
concept.
consciousness and you've been meatloaf.
This is a carry on from Get Out, the sex slave.
What a double bill.
Oh, fuck.
It's a good point if you think about it in that terms. If he can vaguely remember what Eddie can, then yeah, he's had a shit, pretty fucking shit life.
Oh, but what was the song he sang? What's the name of the song that he sang when he actually got out and became alive? There's something
Oh.
about
The sword of Damocles is hanging over my head.
yeah, but like I don't understand the reference between the sword of Damocles to his situation. I don't think it's parallel with each other. And I just like
Well, the sword of Damocles is directly parallel with Frankenfurter's bulge.
Okay, I was not expecting that. That was great. Okay. You bastard.
I don't think it was
you-
that funny. I'm laughing
I know.
at your reaction.
Well, it's because you said it was such a serious face as well, and it's just like, okay. In any case, I feel like all the songs and all the maybe the names of all the songs kind of like make me question why they are called that. I guess as in sort of Damocles and well, yeah, I can't even remember the name of the songs actually. It just like because you see because like I checked on the wiki and I was like, this song is this and it's like okay, damn it, Jen. Okay, damn it, Jen. I could understand. It's like scrolling. I was like, it's so maybe it's like a subgenre I don't really understand or really get, right? Or maybe I can like see the surface of it and I go, yeah, I guess, but like I can't really dive deep into it because without going, I'm not sure what I'm like going with this, and like I'm trying to like swim through all this information, and it's like I have no idea where this is going. So, or maybe that's just me. I don't know. How about you guys?
It's kind of hard because, like, I don't know. I think maybe there is a line of logic to it that I didn't get, but I don't know. I didn't really get much of it. So trying to sort of reverse engineer that kind of thing, I wouldn't even know where to start, man. I don't know if it's maybe it's an of its time thing, and maybe because we're watching it sort of nearly 50 years later, where things in the world are like vastly different. I don't know, but it all seemed very, very random to me.
Well, maybe it's because it's progressed through history and like the culture and subculture of it has got more wildly accepted. I would say for like I did put I feel like most of us put like impact score like nearly 10s or decently high at least, because this movie has made a lot of like impact on the world and impact of like what the culture is, because the style of their clothing and like their makeup, which I feel like has like made very popularized now. I call it like a harlequin, like sort of like clothing with the white makeup with the playing card sign and like the stockings with rips in them, because like I feel like I see that popularized with not just like Batman, but like things like with the Borderline games with like Mad Moxie. I was like, all right, yeah, that style of clothing is, I mean, it's kind of hot actually. It's not too bad clothing, right? It's like seeing girls in like the makeup and in like the corsets and like ripped stockings. Like, oh no, that's kind of hot, but like that's about as much that's about as surface level as I can get. Go, oh yeah, that's cool, but that's about it. Anything else deeper than that really goes. I just sank. I have no idea where I am. And go, okay, I'm just gonna just jump back a bit. Just do yeah. So stay in your sequenced corset clothing. I will be fine. That's fine. We'll stick. I will stick to that. I will be good.
Oh,
And the thing for me was
to know each other a bit more.
And the thing for me was I was just watching it like I'm not getting anything from this, and I don't understand why it's so highly rated and all of that kind of stuff. But in the 70s and even now, like there are a lot of people who this means a lot to, and would have been the film that those people needed. And I thought that was really nice. And that softened me up a bit. I mean, I still wanted it to end very soon, but it softened me enough. It softened me up enough to go, this is really nice. As much as it's not for me, that's nice.
Was it nice enough to warrant that potential sequel?
There is a sequel.
There is a sequel.
I kind of want to watch the sequel. I'm
What-
interested.
What's that called then? I don't know. There was.
I think it's called Shock Value, and it's about Brad and Janet like reacclimatizing to society after
Oh,
they've.
really.
I'm interested to look at it. Not that interested, obviously, because I haven't. But like,
Oh, I might have to watch
Yeah.
that.
I kind of saw that there was a sequel and went, all right. And then that was it.
Too soon.
I mean, no, that's the way that sequels, well, certain sequels work. Right, you just go, oh yeah, there's a second part to this movie. Do I care enough to actually go and watch it? About time, I guess, but like, not really. It's okay. If I find out there was a sequel to Boa versus Python, I'll definitely make you guys watch it, right? But like, because it'll be my pick. Just your face then is perfect sometimes.
No.
But like, if I told you there was a sequel to Boa versus Python, would you go out and purposely watch it?
No.
Not purposely, no.
No, that's what I'm saying, right?
I'd have
It's
to be
like-
forced into it against my
Yeah.
will. Yeah.
We'd
Yeah, I
have
don't
to, you'd
think
have to
I'd-
choose it.
I don't think I'd do it on purpose, but I'd be open to it happening as an accident.
Yeah, if you're like
Is-
at a party with someone and then like it dies down, and they're like, "Oh, we need to round out the night. Do you want to watch Boa versus Python 2?" And you're like, "Oh yeah,
Wow.
go on then."
Yeah, because you're probably not really going to watch it. It's
Oh,
just
yeah.
going to be background noise.
Yeah, in that scenario, if somebody said that, I'd take it over like the Shawshank Redemption. But
Yeah, because you're not going to watch that at fucking 3 o'clock. in the night.
Would you like to watch Boa versus Python 2? Or would you like to watch The Greatest Showman?
Boa versus Python 2 in any situation,
Yeah.
not just that one.
If you had the gun to my head, I would pick that fucking film.
Okay.
Fucking hell. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
So-
Boa versus Python.
Favorite scenes?
Oh, I've done mine.
Yeah. So
I'd say one of my favorite, other than the time warp, because that's such a good scene. But my favorite one is probably the bit where Eddie comes out the freezer, because you don't really expect it, or the bit with the table, because you don't really expect it either. But
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
when
the
he comes out the
dinner scene, that was
freezer and he's got his fucking he's got like a scar on his head, he's all frosty, he's got a fucking saxophone. And you're like, what the fuck is this? And he starts fucking playing it, and then he gets on his motorbike and then chases people around the room. It's just so fucking bonkers. It's great.
The
Yeah.
dubbing is terrible.
So the table scene, they didn't actually know what was going to happen. It's a bit like the Alien. You know that when they didn't know the
Yeah.
chest burst was going to happen.
spoilers.
Please don't compare this to Alien. Fucking hell.
No, but I'm saying, like, you know, there's always the shock factor of the actual actors don't know that something's going to happen, and it's their genuine reaction.
Hmm.
This film had that where when he pulls out and I don't know if she is screaming like that for real, because you know when she runs off screaming, but yeah, they're genuine. Their reactions to it are genuine, which is always quite cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it, really.
I would say the scene before the dinner scene with the narrator was actually quite artistically well made, because he was talking about how having a meal and how it's usually quite like I would like to say eloquent, and it usually has like sort of like family demeanor about it. But you see that on the book, the picture that was open was the Last Supper, and I was thinking, oh, that's artistically poetic. Yeah, that makes so much sense because I knew that from that, because seeing that Last Supper, I was like, all right, yeah, we know something kind of bad. It's going to happen. And yes, behold, Eddie's in the table and they were eating part of Eddie. And I was like, yeah, cool. I was like, yeah, that's kind of clever, right? Yeah. But where's everything else? Where's the other sort of like clever things? Just like the only scene that made me go, aha! And that's it. I just can't. And it was just like,
Yeah.
It was like, okay.
There's actually quite a few biblical references in it. There's the bit when he's, the swimming pool. The bottom of the swimming pool is the famous Da Vinci picture where they're touching fingers. I can't remember what it's called.
Oh, the birth of Adam, I think, or something.
Yeah, where they're on the clouds, and that's on the bottom of the swimming pool. There's a lot.
Oh, right. Yeah.
There's a Da Vinci picture. There's the Mona Lisa in one of the rooms.
Oh yeah, I remember
There's
that.
a lot of
I remember
different
one.
either art references or religious iconography.
Iconography.
Yeah, and they're probably all stolen props and assets from all the old films. And there's
I never knew that.
Yeah, because this was like the budget for this film was like it was more than the stage show, obviously, but everyone essentially just went, "Can we just nick this and just use it?"
I don't know if it's that obvious.
I'd actually be really interested to watch the stage show now, just to see if they've like updated it.
Oh, I could do that for my birthday.
Oh, no.
And I'm gonna buy Patty's own VIP seat.
The box seat.
You'd have to you'd have to go beyond VIP. You'd have to have like those eye things from A Clockwork Orange.
Yes.
I think Pat's sold on it somehow. I don't know.
No.
You're gonna have to drug him.
I think you need to throw in a pair of like just shiny gold underpants.
Oh yeah.
Poor Pat to wear.
And don't worry, we'll buy you a nice top hat as well, just to make you stand apart. It'll be perfect. Okay. Anyone else got any statements? I can't remember who else.
Was that favourite scenes?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, favorite scene. Sorry, yeah.
I think there was only one point where I was thinking this might be a decent film, and that was that car journey, because I really liked how it looked, and I thought the atmosphere was really cool. But I don't know if I'd say that was my favourite scene. I did like the song where it's like, "You're a hot dog, but you better not hurt her, Frank Berta." That was really making me laugh. I think that's the only scene that like where I was going, "Oh, I'm reacting to this how I'm supposed to be."
Oh, that's the bit when they get turned into statues, doesn't it?
Yeah. I thought that was really funny. It was really making me laugh. I did like the "Don't Dream It Be It" song. That made me feel quite fuzzy. Because I was thinking of like, if somebody in the 70s was watching this, and they're kind of like outcast by society just because they're a bit different, and then they've got this in front of them, and that's really nice, and that made me feel all emotional.
I remember that being like the absolute nadir of my experience the first time I watched it. I was trying to track like the rhythm of it and going like, what the I just found it a really frustrating experience. Benjamin. Okay, never mind.
I see you wondering. Oh, there we go. Right, but
What?
No, continue. Don't worry. I was talking crap.
So, who's whose film's next, I guess. I feel like we've hit the end of the rope.
Ben didn't say his favourite bit.
No,
I
he
did.
did a funny thing. Did a funny voice, and then he pretended he was talking to Pat.
Oh,
Was it?
No, it wasn't actually.
Okay.
I already said my favourite scene earlier, so I was
did you?
struggling what else to say. Really.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, Pat, I've just realised how rude your name is.
Yeah, it's a clever
Piece
one.
of shit.
The Rocky Horror piece of shit.
It's true.
Rocky Horror.
Oh.
I just don't understand how you'd want to watch The Greatest Showman over this fucking film.
All
Like,
right,
So
let's
that's
get
where
into
I draw the
this.
line.
All
I didn't get
right,
much from
okay.
Rocky Horror Picture Show, but I got a lot more from it than what I got
Like-
from The Greatest Showman.
Every single piece of this film was better than that fucking piece of shit.
Yeah, I'd
No,
agree
it
with
Even
that.
if the story didn't make sense and it was a bit fucking
Makes sense. It didn't exist.
But at least it wasn't evil.
Yeah, at least it didn't have some fucking racist circus freak man bastard.
Play
Look,
Vader.
I
Oh,
knew
no.
nothing about that before I watched The Greatest Showman.
You do now
But-
and you still like it, so you're a piece of shit.
Stuff that I know afterwards makes no.
It does.
I don't really.
Don't you
give a shit
fucking
about
say
it
it makes no
afterwards.
difference, because
It doesn't make any difference to my enjoyment.
Well,
Yeah.
admittedly speaking, Frankfurter was not like a good person, at least, because like he did still he
A little
Perhaps-
bit like P.T. Barnum, actually.
Yeah,
Well,
he
yeah,
did murder
yeah.
and abuse people. Yes.
he trapped someone, like then afterwards murdered him and he ate them. Like, it's like he's not exactly a good person.
But what did Frankenfurter do?
Hey, yeah, that's great. So, like that, I feel like we could end the statements there.
This
'cause-
this film is what made Anakin kill younglings.
What the
Oh,
fuck?
I thought
Oh.
I heard
that
my
is-
name then.
Yeah, I thought Alec. Oh, it's Anakin. Oh.
I was like, I didn't kill anybody. I
That would have been a
definitely
very
didn't kill any
different scene.
youngling.
No, what make Alec kill younglings is Loki season 3.
I'll be Darth Vader.
What's
That's
the
fine.
season 2?
Hot potato.
No.
Bless my
Bless my
soul.
soul.
You really love that rock and roll.
Yeah, okay.
I really like the songs.
We know
The
that.
song,
We know.
the story might be a bit. It doesn't really make.
Story
much
is
sense.
intensely.
Mm,
Yeah.
but it's no way as bad as the Grey Show.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
definitely not.
you're entitled to your opinion.
Objectively true.
Okay, so
Right.
all right.
Um,
Before we divulge into like more petty name calling anymore, let's just say, well, Alec, what was your pick for the next film, right?
Yeah, it's my film next.
Better be good.
It's the sequel to Rocky. No.
Yes.
I would never be forgiven. No, my next film is Ex Machina,
Ooh.
starring Domhnall Gleeson, Oscar Isaac, and
Ooh.
a lady.
Alicia Vikander.
Alicia
That's it.
Vikander.
I thought it's
Wait.
worse to get this wrong than it is to.
Mhm.
Now I'm confused because you were worried about Dan picking it, but Dan reacted like he'd never seen it.
Well, he took
Yeah.
Pan's Labyrinth from me. So it's just residual. You have seen it.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's a good film.
Yeah, see, I was right. He could have picked it any moment if he wasn't picking shit films.
Oh.
Don't
Oh,
worry,
yeah.
Dan's next film is just gonna like win the round. You wait.
It will. It will, because I know what it is.
I think I might know what it is. Dan, I'm going to send you a message. Tell me if I'm right.
Let's see what his reaction is like.
It'll have whoosh. It'll have unwet water.
And wet water.
And a lot of makeup and costumes.
No, it's not, Rob.
Oh, okay.
shit.
It's
Interesting.
not. That's probably gonna, the round where you said about the greatest films. Oh, what was
Great
the round?
showmans.
The gate
Just
round.
goat round.
The goat rounds.
Yeah.
Because my next pick's the 20th pick, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that film, Rob, is probably going to be the goat round
Oh, nice.
because
I thought you were going to go, I'm not going to pick it next round because I want to save it for my 20th pick. And it was like, that.
that is exactly the same thing. No, the film that I've not disclosed is going to be my 20th pick.
Oh, yeah, I love that one.
Yeah, it's such a great film.
Okay.
Yeah, cool.
So,
Will it have the phrase Great Scott in it?
Yeah, I did like that. I was like, is this where Back to the Future got it from?